There have only ever been 6 fighters in the history of the UFC that have gotten a title shot after back-to-back losses. On Saturday night, Alexander Volkanovski will become the 7th. And if he wins this fight, if he becomes the featherweight champion of the world, Alexander Volkanovski will only ever be the 2nd person to do it after back-to-back losses. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to give you my bets for UFC 314. But before we look forward, let's take a look back at the bets from UFC Vegas 105. Overall, a spectacular fight card. I hit 100% of the bets I put on the board. Every single bet that I put out into the universe came back with a winning ticket. And I wasn't the only one that had a great night. Jakey Boy had a great night as well. His underdog lock of the week hit, as did a bunch of his other bets. Bet Sam does a bet called the Slam of the Week. It's basically his safety parlay, but it's not always a parlay. And that absolutely crushed. The boys had a great UFC Vegas 105, which means our premium members had a great UFC Vegas 105. And that success resembled the success from the week before at UFC Mexico. And there's a trend here. If you go to WeWantPicks.com and you click Become a Member, it's only $10 for an entire month's worth of access. And that access will give you every single pick, every single bet, every single tool for an entire month. That month includes a whole bunch of really good fight cards, including UFC 314, UFC Kansas City, and UFC Des Moines. And here's a look at everything that Premium has to offer. It's not just some copy-paste bets. We have tools. One of those tools is the line movement tracker. This will give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. We have a tool called the Data Analyzer. A lot of you like to do your own research. You want to watch the fights. You want to do some tape study. You want to deep dive the stats and maybe find a really cool prop bet. And you can do all of that inside the Data Analyzer tool. And not only is the Data Analyzer built for this card, UFC 314, but it's also built out to the future. If you want to do research on cards all the way out into the summer, you can do so now. The Data Analyzer is loaded and ready to go with every fighter on every card that has been announced. And you can unlock the Data Analyzer, the line movement tracker, the picks, the bets, the tools, the artificial intelligence, and every single thing that we do for one package at WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10. There's no tiers. There's no upsells. It's $10 for an entire month. And every single thing that we offer is available inside of our app. The app is 100% free. It's available right now on the App Store. Just search We Want Picks. And the app gives you push notifications. So anytime we place a bet, you will get a notification on your phone. The safety parlay's up. Jacob just placed this bet. And if you want to hop on the bet, great. If you don't, that's fine. Put your phone back down. You get on with your day. But you didn't miss out on any of the line movement. We get push notifications even if you're not a premium member. If you remember at UFC 313, we had 2 fights cancel right before that card started. And you got a notification on your phone that said these 2 fights canceled. Adjust your DraftKings lineups, take a look at your bets, and make sure that you are good to go. Download the app. It's 100% free. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. And here's a look at the entire month. And depending when you're watching this, you're actually going to get another event as well. But if you sign up, you will have full access to UFC 314. You will have full access to UFC Des Moines and full access to UFC Kansas City. And it's not just these events that you'll break down because we already have bets on the board for UFC 315. Every single thing that I just mentioned is part of the greatest value in the history of this space, and that is an objective fact. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member, and unlock every single thing that we do with one click of the button. Let's take a look at this card specifically. UFC 314 is a good card. UFC 314 is also a tricky card. The amount of live dogs on this card is crazy. Usually pay-per-views are easy. Usually pay-per-views are straightforward. A couple of giant favorites that everybody's positive about, 1 or 2 dogs, and then a bunch of pretty straightforward breakdowns. That's not the case here. This is a tricky-ass card. So let's talk about some confident favorites I do have, and then some solid underdogs. If I'm looking at confident favorites, I like Virna Jandiroba. I honestly think the forward pressure, the grinding wrestling is going to be enough to get it done. And that's not really a popular take. A lot of people think Yan Xiaonan is good enough here. And she is good. She's a decent fighter. But the reality is, Virna is just such a grinding dog that I think Jan's going to be struggling against the cage. She's going to get taken down. And I think Yan is just going to lose the first 2 rounds, maybe squeak out the third if Virna gets tired from holding her down. But Virna is a pretty confident pick for me. Chase Hooper as well, no surprise there. He is the biggest favorite on the card, but the confidence is really coming from the fact that he is fighting a 41-year-old man, and he is better than Jim Miller at everything. I think he's a better striker than Jim Miller. I think he's a better grappler than Jim Miller, and I know that's sort of insulting because Jim Miller's been a black belt for like 25 years, but the reality is Jim Miller doesn't have this modern, evolved jiu-jitsu, and Chase Hooper does. Chase Hooper is unbelievably slick on the ground, and he's sort of grown into this, like, man. He was a boy with curly hair that like, leaned into being a skinny dweeb. That's not the Chase Hooper we have anymore. He's feeling himself. He's on quite a little streak here. I think Chase Hooper runs through Jim Miller, and minus 800. I'm surprised he's not minus 1,500. Remember last week, Deone Barboza closed at minus 1,200? And she looked it. She looked every bit of it. And I feel like this could be more of the same. Marco Tulio. He's a guy that as the week goes on, I get a little more confident in. And it's less about him because I was never lacking confidence in him. I just had a lot of question marks around Tresean Gore. How good is he? Is Tresean Gore actually good at all? I know he's a big underdog here, but he can wrestle. He's got kind of a hard head. And yeah, he got knocked out by Cody Brunage, but in the first 2 minutes of any fight, Cody Brunage could knock a horse out. But then you look at it a little more and it's like, well, here's the reality. Tresean Gore is not that good. His wins aren't that good. He doesn't wrestle as much as he should. And Marco Tulio essentially has 3 wins under the UFC umbrella, 2 on Contender Series, 1 in the UFC. He's a good striker. He's a good grappler. He can do all the things and he should be able to beat Tresean Gore. And then Paddy Pimblett. Listen, the line is swinging. This is becoming tighter and tighter. I don't think it'll full flip. I don't think we'll ever see Chandler as the favorite. But this line is tightening, and I don't get it. Paddy Pimblett is actually good. Yeah, his head is straight up in the air, and it's stupid. But he's actually good. He can strike, he can wrestle, he can grapple. But this is less about Paddy and his skills and more about Michael Chandler and his refusal to do what he's supposed to do to win fights. He's at a point in his career where all he wants to do is bomb overhands and be exciting. So great, bomb overhands, miss, get tired, and then Paddy will out-grapple you. Paddy will out-wrestle you. Paddy will grind you down. Paddy Pimblett is the pick. I am honestly very confident in Paddy, and the line movement is a bit bizarre to me. I get it. Oh, his chin is straight up in the air. Michael Chandler. How many times is Michael Chandler going to sell you that bullshit? See you at the top. Oh, yeah? You just got out-wrestled by Charles Oliveira. Not out-grappled, out-wrestled. Charles Oliveira shooting doubles like Jordan Burroughs, taking Michael Chandler down left and right. Not a care in the world. Michael Chandler's supposed to be a Division I All-American. He looked like my daughter. He doesn't care about his career. He cares about being exciting and getting paid. Let me rephrase that. He cares about his career, but he doesn't see his career as becoming a champion. He sees his career as selling tickets. So good for him. As a fan, I love it. No such thing as a boring Michael Chandler fight. They do not exist. But if we're trying to take him serious as a fighter, I think Paddy Pimblett runs right through him. If we're looking at solid underdogs across the board, almost every fight, you could argue the dog. There's very few fights where you're like, this is pretty straightforward. Even the Chase Hooper fight. I mean, Jim Miller's got all that veteran savvy. But some underdogs that I will stamp my seal of approval on, Mitch Raposo. I think Mitch Raposo can get this done. He's from that New England cartel gym. They're always well prepared in the striking. He's fast. He's accurate. He's got some speed. He's got some grittiness. He is hittable because he keeps his hands a little too low. But his opponent, Sumaderji, is also hittable. He's on that 3-fight skid. Sumaderji's fast as hell, but I think Mitch is... He's not faster, but I think Mitch is fast enough to not get absolutely lit up. I think he will close the distance. I think he's gritty enough and grindy enough to take whatever shots on the way in and then just grind and make it ugly and nasty and make sure there's not enough space for Sumaderji to dance around the outside. So I think Mitch can absolutely 100% pull this off. Diego Lopes in the main event. What did I open this with? Saying that in the history of the UFC, only 6 fighters have ever gotten a title shot after back-to-back losses, and only one of them have won. And that was Randy Couture. And it was for an interim belt. And we're at an interim belt situation type here, but this is very different because Randy Couture wasn't chinny, getting smoked, back-to-back knockout losses. Randy Couture was in a very different situation. And I just think that at 36 years old, with the long career that he has had, getting knocked out 2 times in the last year and a half, I think this is it for Alexander Volkanovski. And it sucks because we all love him. How could you not love Volkanovski? But how could you hate Diego Lopes as well? He's a great fighter. He's exciting. He's fun. He hits hard. He's fast. We just watched him absolutely smoke, just run through Brian Ortega. He hit him so hard, he knocked him unconscious, then hit him again. It woke him back up. Diego Lopes is great on the ground, great on the feet. Cardio is the big question here. So if he doesn't get him out of there early, then we'll see what happens when this fight goes late. But I do think Diego Lopes is a phenomenal underdog, and the way this line is moving, he may not be an underdog for long. Patricio Pitbull. A lot of you may not be familiar with Pitbull and what he did in Bellator. You may not be familiar with the fact that he was the featherweight champion and the lightweight champion. You may not be familiar with the fact that he has had 16 title fights since 2013. He only has one unavenged loss at featherweight since 2010. And the only reason he couldn't avenge that loss is because it was Joe Warren and he retired. Patricio Pitbull is good. He grinds, he can strike, he can grapple, he can do all the things. And I understand that for a period of time, Yair Rodriguez is very good. He's very exciting. He's also a quitter with a quit button. We just watched that button get pressed against Brian Ortega. We just watched him get beat on by Volkanovski. Patricio Pitbull is not exactly young, but I still think his durability is there. I think he will pressure forward. I think he gets it done. And then Darren Elkins. The fact that the damage is this big of an underdog is crazy. It's crazy. Darren Elkins as a 3-1 dog makes no sense to me. He can grind. He can wrestle. He's fighting somebody who's not very durable, and he is durable. So I know Darren's not young by any means whatsoever, but Julian Erosa is a guy that gets finished. And he's coming off back-to-back guillotine wins, but okay. I don't think he's going to guillotine Darren Elkins. Yes, Darren Elkins will be taking shots, but I think Darren Elkins will stay safe, grind away, elbow, and I think Darren Elkins could absolutely squeak out a win here, and I have a bet to represent that point. Here's a couple of the bets we got going on. I am filming this on Tuesday, far earlier than I normally film it, so we don't have all the bets on the board yet. There are more bets coming from me and the rest of the crew, but as of right now, I do have 4 units worth of bets. I have Paddy Pimblett, full unit on him at minus 160. You're going to get better odds today. All the reasons I just mentioned. I think Paddy is just the better fighter who is taking his career seriously. Skill for skill, physique for physique, speed for speed. It's all. Those are probably all Michael Chandler. But as far as taking their career seriously and trying to win fights, I got to go Paddy. Paddy is slick as shit on the ground. His striking is good. And if Charles Oliveira is out wrestling Michael Chandler the way that he did, I think Paddy Pimblett can do the same. Verna Jandiroba, for the reasons I mentioned as well. I think she's going to shoot takedown after takedown. I think she'll grind Jan up against the cage, drag her to the ground, win the minutes, ultimately win the fight. She may gas and it might get dicey late, but I think Verna can survive trouble. I think Verna can stay out of any big shots coming her way and just grind her way to a win. Darren Elkins plus 3.5 points. Listen, I think Darren Elkins wins and he's a 3-1 dog. But I'm a little scaredy cat. So instead of betting Darren Elkins outright, I'm going to bet the plus 3.5. That's the point spread. So you're buying points on the judges' scorecards. And the way that math is essentially going to work out, there's obviously different circumstances here and there, but the way that math will essentially work out is that Darren Elkins needs to win 1 round on the judges' scorecards. And if he can grind his way through 1 round, make it to the scorecards, and even lose a 29-28, we get paid. I think he can outright win, but I'll lose a little bit of value to gain some insurance. And then we have Diego Lopes inside the distance decision, no action. This basically means if Diego Lopes finishes Alexander Volkanovski, we'll get paid. If he loses a decision or even wins a decision, we get a full refund. I'm expecting to get paid or a refund here. The only way we lose this bet is if Diego gets finished. I do not see Alexander Volkanovski finishing Diego Lopes. I don't think any of us do. I think the general consensus is Diego Lopes either knocks out Volkanovski early or gets tired and Volk grinds him out, wins a decision. In both of those scenarios, we're good and we don't lose. And then we have the safety parlay. Safety parlay was put on the board today. The safety parlay is on a nice little streak here. And this was a tricky card to put together a safety parlay. So if you want to check out the safety parlay, all the bets that I'm about to place, and all the bets from the boys, WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's freaking $10 for an entire month. Jacob has an insane amount of bets right now. Like a ton of bets right now on the board. We have 21 total units of bets. 21 total units. And that's not just for this event. We have a handful of UFC 315 bets on the board as well. Here's a teaser from the boys. There's obviously way more on the website, but here's a couple for you. Diego Lopes outright from Jacob. Diego Lopes is Jacob's underdog lock of the week. He bet him straight up. He got him at plus 130 before the line swung. Dominic Reyes, that's a BetSam bet. BetSam is very confident in Dominic Reyes, calling it his underdog of the week, plus 155 on that side of the house. We have a Chase Hooper, Jim Miller under 2.5 rounds at minus 120. certainly decent value there because I think Hooper runs through Jim Miller. I honestly think it's going to be, Jim Miller's finally going to look old in this fight. So I think that's a solid bet. And then a similar bet for Jandiroba and Yan Xiaonan under 2.5 rounds. That one's a little, hey, it's plus 150. It's not my bet. It's one of the other boys. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Jandiroba does win by finish under 2.5 rounds. Same way she just did in her last fight. A lot more bets on the board. If you want to check all of them out, it's $10. You unlock every single thing for an entire month at WeWantPicks.com. And here's a look at Bet Openly. The very first slide that we had showed the odds and then the Bet Openly odds. Bet Openly is not a sports book. They are not a casino. They are peer-to-peer, human-to-human. They are a website that facilitates bets between people. So if you go on the website and say, you know what, I'm going to bet Yan Xiaonan at plus 130, then I can say, you know what, I'll take minus 130 on the other side. So I take your bet, you take mine, and if I win, you get my money. No, I get your money, and if you win, you get my money. Very simple, very straightforward. And because they don't need anybody to win or lose, they don't care if I win or if you win. All they care about is people using the platform. They don't have to build in profit. Their profit comes from a 1% margin. They take 1% of the total volume. If I win $100, I'll get $99. They take $1 to keep the website running and to keep it all going. Check them out at betopenly.com or WeWantPicks.com/betopenly. And finally, if you want $50, you want a little juice in the pocket heading into fight week, we'll do that for you. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. You sign up with any one of the partners, make a deposit, we send you $50. It's affiliate marketing. You're going to use the link, you're going to sign up, you're going to make a deposit. And because of that, we're going to get some commission. And then we'll slice off $50 and we will give it to you. Guys, good luck this weekend. This feels like a spectacular fight card, but also a sketchy one. Make sure you got your spots right. Go to the website, do all the things. We appreciate every last one of you.